Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. I'm your host, Elena Fox. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time. And that whenever and wherever you happen to be in these here corridors of time, I hope that you are aware of how we are becoming unstuck in time and how time has been behaving rather badly. Usually it seems that time is anchored to space in a linear fashion that makes sense. 60 seconds make a minute, and 60 minutes make an hour, and 24 hours make a day, and anywhere between 28 and 31 days, which makes no sense, makes a month. Technically a lunar month is 28 days, which makes sense. There's 13 of them every year, but anyway, that's besides the point. I hope that you're able to acknowledge that time has been very, very weird lately. And when you do notice it, I hope that you don't blow it off and think you're crazy or dingy for thinking something like that. Because it's been that way for everybody. Everyone has been experiencing these anomalies lately. The time warps, time speeding up, time slowing down. Like you just poured yourself a cup of coffee less than a minute ago and now it's ice cold. Or you poured yourself a cup of coffee a half hour ago and totally forgot about it and went, oh shit, you go back to get your coffee and it's still hot. These are things that are actually happening to people. I noticed that when I lived in Cuenca, it was pretty consistent how long it took the water to boil. It seemed like an eternity, which for somebody with ADHD is about 10 minutes. It felt like an eternity though. And I noticed when I got to the coast, it takes about 5 minutes. And it's been about 5 minutes every single time, except this week. Now, a few days ago, it took almost 10 minutes for me to boil water here. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, why the hell is the water not boiling? And I can't, there's no explanation. It was a hot day, so it was like 83 degrees outside and possibly maybe 89 inside. So it's always a few degrees warmer indoors than outdoors with a nice cool and fresh ocean breeze, which I love. The constant wind from the ocean is an amazing feeling. But all of a sudden it started taking 2 minutes for the water to boil. So it was like 10 minutes last week, and now suddenly the last 2 days it takes like 2 minutes for the water to boil. It's like, whoa, how is it suddenly boiling so much faster? Could be because it's hotter out, maybe. There's got to be a scientific explanation. And yet, it doesn't seem like it would have made that much of a difference. Not really. Because the gas is the same temperature. When I light it on fire for the gas stove, I have to actually light the stove with an external fire source every time. There's that. And then also I'm using fridge water, which is ice cold, obviously. When I moved here, the landlord said, don't ever leave your pitcher of water out because the mosquitoes can lay eggs in it. And that thoroughly disgusted me. It's not the kind of eggs I want to have for breakfast. So I decided, I'm going to keep it in the fridge. And I have a plastic over the water bottle nozzle. Now that I have an actual water pump that's a USB pump, it's pretty cool. It holds 15 or 20 charges. I could go through a whole water bottle without having to charge it up, which is pretty cool. But anyway, I've noticed that time either speeds up or slows down. And sometimes the way that time shows on our faces or in our hair also has been changing. So some days you look ravaged by the traces of time on your face. You look older than normal. And then you'll look in the mirror 2 days later and you look 10 or 20 years younger. And you did nothing to deserve it, but there it is anyway. Now you're younger. It's very, very weird. These things shouldn't work like that. And yet the multidimensional world that has always been there, but that we are certainly only in recent years, starting to come into awareness of. We have actually started to notice all these weird little glitches. The Mandela effect has been a thing, a very real thing, where we remember historical events, things in time. Even movies and actors that were in those movies. We remember things plain as day because we remember them from our childhood. And yet when we look back on it, those things don't exist anymore, or they exist in a totally twisted and different way. And that's another weird thing. There's just been a lot of weird things to do with time lately. Now, I have been talking today to the Archangel of Time, who is incarnate in human form. And she tells me that she's trying to get a handle on some of this timeline stuff recently. She only came into the awareness recently in the past couple months that she is the Archangel of Time. So imagine that. You're skating along your life. She is a skateboarder. She's just doing this stuff in her life, everyday stuff, and then all of a sudden it's oh shit, I'm an archangel? And I'm the Archangel of Time? Holy moly. That's a big one. Now, I'm not going to say her archangel name because it's not published or printed anywhere, which is just as well, because we don't want people to call upon. If you're an archangel incarnate and people call upon you and they channel you, what that does is it puts you in a weakened state. And humans don't know that we can be incarnate, and that most of us are incarnate right now. The main four, Ariel, Gabriel, Michael, and Raphael, are not incarnate, but the rest of the 12 main archangels were incarnate. I talked to Archangel Shamuel and Archangel Haniel on pretty much a regular daily basis. And the Archangel of Time, Archangel Barakael, and we talk every day. Archangel Raguel damn well better write me soon. He is my son, after all. I haven't heard from him in 2 weeks, and I'm getting pretty annoyed at that. I really miss him, and I want to make sure he's okay. I'm hoping to God it's because, knock on wood, he's got a job, and he's too busy. But, I've been really contacting all these archangels, and every now and again I look up my own name and see all these posts of people saying that they've channeled me and that I'm this and I'm that, and they always say he in regards to me, and I feel like a he more often than not. But archangels, we're all pretty not really dead set in our gender roles. We are both. We are both and or neither. We embody the male and the female aspects. And then when we get incarnate here, sometimes we'll be one but want to be the other, or we will just identify with one but maybe feel like the other. We don't totally lose that ability to embody both masculine and feminine roles. But it's hilarious when I look at people's explanations of what I said or who I am, and it's all BS because they didn't actually channel me since I've been alive for the last 52 years. Almost coming up on 53 years. It's like, I don't think so, guys. You didn't really channel me, And it's more like you channeled your subconscious an idea of me, but that's not really me. I did put a kibosh on it. Nobody can call upon us archangels that are incarnate any longer. Not for the past year or so. Because as soon as I realized that's what's been happening, no wonder, man, I had to reclaim my energy back. I'm a very popular archangel, apparently. It's really weird. I had never, this is so stupid, but I had never heard of myself until just a couple years ago. I didn't even know my own archangel name because I had never heard of me. I'd heard the name, but I thought it was just a cool goth name people made fun of, which is kind of funny because I didn't think about it. I didn't know I was an archangel up until 2013 is 13, my lucky number. A number of death. That was the year that I found out. So, but I didn't even think about my archangel name until 2 years ago or something. Maybe 3 years ago now. But I did put a kibosh on that, and I did want to mention any kind of prayers to archangels should be directed to God first and ask for the appropriate archangel for your issue. Don't ask for Archangel Azrael. Ask for the Archangel of Death, the current acting Archangel of Death if you need it. Or if you really need me and you need my help, I will be more than happy to assist you. Just direct message me at mermaidgirl888 on Instagram, because I actually have counseled a lot of people in my life for free. Just, about, grieving or bereavement, any of that, death. What happens when we die, am I going to hell and what is that like? Why won't the demons leave me alone? All these kinds of questions have been directed at me, and that's okay. I love talking about this stuff. It's my life, literally. That's what I was created for. But anyway, as death and time, we go hand in hand, right? And time experienced herself as having a lot of eyes, and I'm drawn a lot of times as having a lot of eyes, which is pretty freaky, actually, when you think about it. Do I really have 10,000 eyes or whatever they say? It's terrifying completely. 4,000 wings and a million eyes, or I don't know. There's all these weird descriptions of me. It's holy hell, that's scary. That's so scary. A lot of people say I'm a beautiful and terrifying angel, and I could see that's probably true. My kids have thought that I'm also very sweet and at once also very terrifying. When I call upon that powerful energy, my kids get really scared. And even when I sing, if I sing just normal, that's not a problem. But when I call upon the God part of me and I sing from that place, my kids have been scared the roof was going to fall in, not because I'm a bad singer, although I probably am, but just because the energy that I can emit when I try. And I noticed that other people have gotten a little bit oh shit, and stepped away from that crazy girl. When I was a teenager, I was in a church and I was talking, and then I sang a little bit randomly and scared the shit out of me. I was very terribly shy, but in this moment I was empowered and emboldened by the energy of God. And I've always been very close with God my whole life, but this was a particular moment that was more so, and I remember people kind of stepping back and then like crying, and it brought people to a place of healing really fast. So I thought that was cool. So if any of y'all need me, just write me and I'll be there for you. But don't call upon the angels. I haven't mentioned this in a long while, but just as a quick side note, you could call upon the angels through God. God, please send me the archangel of herding cats because I need my cat corralled and brought back. You know, that's a regular prayer. When I let Miss Raven spell outside, Miss Knowledge Raven spell, she did not listen to me today. And I asked God, and by what time is she going to come strolling through the door? And God said probably around 2:00. And I looked at the clock at 2:22 p.m. There's an angel number for you. And I had 99% charge. There's another angel number for you. And she still wasn't here, but by 2:30 she was in the door. Like, she was not listening to the angels. She was not listening to me. She was not listening to God. And she lost the rest of the day privileges outside because of it. It was a very hot day. I'm sure all she did was just, hang out outside, like asleep or something. I really feel like that's what happened. It was like, even the dog next door, all the animals were sleeping today, just in the middle of the day. It was too hot to move, And so it was a very weird day. But I want you guys to notice the time anomalies, time stuff. They always say the older you get, the faster time goes, which does seem to be the case. I don't know exactly why. It's in the brain. It's our perception. But that's one thing. But and when you're young, the perception is time is never going to end. Like a 3-month summer to some of us doesn't seem very long anymore. But to little kids, it's like a year. It takes forever for summer to get gone. And then when school rolls around, then it seems fast. But during summer, it's like, wow, summer's awesome. It lasts forever. And Christmas vacation too, man. I would get so sick of my parents. Like, I'd be like, why can't they work and just hire a babysitter? Like, I don't want to see my parents that much, My mom, I always wanted to see her, but I was not allowed to stay at her house the whole Christmas vacation, unfortunately. I only got to see her like, I don't know. I think it was like every other weekend and then 1 week a year, something like that. It was a really shitty custody arrangement. But that's what they were given, so okay, whatever. But I remember time being different when I was little and time being different now. But that's one thing. And yet another thing is when your coffee can remain hot for 30 minutes after you've poured it. Like hot. I don't mean just lukewarm or slightly warm or acceptable for drinking warm, but I mean hot to the touch after 30 minutes. And then the next day is different. Not really like cooled off, but like, I don't know, that's one thing that happened to me. But then like with the water boiling thing, taking 5 minutes is normal, but all of a sudden it's taking 2 minutes. It's like, whoa. Today I forgot and I waited 10 minutes for my coffee water to boil, and it boiled the hell out. The whole thing was boiled out. No water in the pan. Just maybe like a tablespoon of water left. I'm like, oh man, I just wasted that water. Release the water spirits back into the air. But it was like 10 minutes, and what's weird is 10 minutes just like a few days ago is how long it took for it to boil in the first place. So it's just that kind of time thing it's an anomaly, and it's been freaking me out a little bit. And I wanted to mention to you guys, for those of you who are new, the other thing is when I was in Cuenca, Ecuador, up in the mountains, I remember thinking my coffee would get really cold in a matter of minutes because it was cold there. And I started this awesome thing where I could move my coffee downward and in a backward spiral formation. And I could heat my coffee up by lowering the vibration of the coffee, but lowering it backwards in time. It sounds weird, but I started experimenting with that, and I got it to work, where I would heat my own coffee up back to an acceptable drinking level. Maybe not boiling hot, but it was pretty warm. Like it went from like, this is too cold to drink, to now it's warm. It's almost like I have to blow on it a little bit, almost. So I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about the timelines and what they are, and how, to the right of us, this is my perception. If you are looking straight ahead, all the timelines to the right of you are 2% better. It's almost like a future or a positive energy, and all the ones to the left are 2.5% worse. So the timeline the closest to you is 2.5% better or worse, depending on, right or left. And the one next to that one is 2.5% better or worse, depending. So I've been thinking about all the timelines and all of the really, really bad timelines that are gone now. And I've had a lot of timeline questions recently from one or a couple of you asking about how it works. Like, is it totally different? Like, your life is the way it is on one timeline, and then on another timeline, you're like married to somebody, and then on yet another timeline, you're married to somebody else completely. And, or like, are we claymation or animated on another timeline? And the answer to that is pretty much no. It's always like 2.5% different, better or worse, depending on what direction you're hopping to that timeline. And when I say timeline, I mean parallel universe to this earth. I'm not talking about other universes, other planets. I'm just talking about this particular schematic called Earth. Terra or Tierra. This is, or Gaia. This is, this schematic is, it's all based on your decisions, right? So like, say you're going along and somebody asks you on a date, and if you go on a date with them and they turn out to be kind of a jerk, they're not a good person, that would be one timeline. But then you go on you are in another timeline when you make the decision that no, you're not going to go out with them because your life will remain the same, right? So say I'm on this one timeline. I'm person A, and person A goes, and person B says, hey, you want to go on a date with me? And I don't know if they're going to be good or bad for me, or if they're going to alter the course of my life. I don't know. But either I like them or I don't. So in, say, scenario one, I say yes. And I have a terrible date, and it sours me a little bit towards the dating scene. Maybe for the rest of my life. Like, he was maybe the final straw that broke the dating camel's back, right? So that would be a timeline 2.5% worse. Like maybe I was open to all dates, and now I'm like more skeptical now, maybe less trusting. So that would be one timeline. Like, so if I choose that, say I hop down a timeline, I get lowered in vibration by this guy, right? Or woman or whatever, this is, a fake scenario. Well, if person B asks me out and I am aware of the energy and I feel a little bit of a glitchy feeling in my stomach, like maybe it's not quite butterflies, which would make me excited to go, thrilled being alive and woohoo, maybe I'm going to have fun kind of energy, but like a glitchy sort of I got a wave of nausea when he asked me. And instead of blaming, the non-tuna tuna sandwich at Subway or the non-meat Taco Bell taco, all the other crap that's going on in the U.S. with food, whatever it is, I'm not going to blame the food I ate, right? I'm just going to think maybe if I'm aware, if I have a spiritual awareness and, person B asks me out and I go, I get a weird feeling. There's a weirdness about him. I don't like it. And maybe I know things about things and I see under his eyes he's got these weird brown half circles. And I know what that is. That usually it could be a nutritional deficiency if it's like a dark gray circle, but it's those weird dark brown circles that people get sometimes. It's because he's constantly masturbating, which means that he has a sex addiction, and it means that his energy is lower in vibration than mine. And for me to be with him in sync, even for a fucking conversation, I'm going to have to lower my vibration. And when my stomach did flip-flops, I have the awareness that I don't like that energy. And then I look into his eyes and I go, I see that he faps for lunch instead of going out to eat. He's doing that all the time. So you know what? I'm not interested. I'm looking for a person of style and substance and grace. I'm looking for a person who would just as well, smoke weed and philosophize about the universe. Having a mental connection that might lead to a heart connection, that might give us the awareness of a soul connection. And then the sexual thing can come in later, after a commitment, after a connection, after a bunch of connections. So I know myself as a demisexual person, and demisexual means I have to have all these other connections in place before I have any interest in getting naked and doing the deed, right? So if I am a person of awareness and I'm aware of myself, I'm aware spiritually, I'm aware of energy, and so I'm person A moving along in my life and person B asks me out and I go, whoa, flip-floppy stomach. Well, I did have a questionable lunch, but nope, that's not it, that's energy. And I say no. Now I get to stay on the same timeline. It did not alter me to say no. It just was like, no, I'm not feeling it. Good luck, though. Buena suerte. Con suerte para ti, with luck for you. Good luck, whatever. Boom, gone, right? But what if I said yes to person C? And person C is somebody that I have a deep and powerful driving force kind of energy with, that I felt the minute his eyes met mine. He has now the weird dark circles under his eyes. I know he hasn't been doing what person B's been doing. I look at person C and I'm like, oh man, ooh, I got it. I got a connection with this person. Maybe he brushes up and touches my hand and I get a thrill, and it's not just sexual, it's everything. It's mental and emotional, and all of my chakras start to line up and activate. I almost feel like my soul is singing and my bones inside my body are rattling or vibrating at a little bit higher, because he's the guy I've been waiting for. Now, if I say yes to him and he asks me out, I'm going to go up another timeline. I'm going to hop over to another timeline. Now, when I say timeline, I mean a parallel universe in which I said yes to person C. Now, there's still existing a parallel universe in which I said yes to person B, and that I had a bad experience, and maybe I said yes to another date, and that might be a whole nother parallel universe. So the one in which I said yes to the first date but no to the second, that exists. And now another parallel universe that exists where I said yes to the first date and yes to the second because I'm ignoring my body and the signs my body's giving me. I'm ignoring the energy stuff, and I don't know what those dark circles are under his eyes. Maybe he took too much no-dos and I'm just ignorant to everything. This is why when I tell you guys it's important, in fact, it's imperative to be spiritually aware and energetically aware and see where things hit you in your body, see where they hit you in your mind, see how your heart feels about it, see how your head feels about it, like taking into consideration everything. If you get a little bit of a in your gut and you haven't eaten, maybe, just maybe, that is your intuition telling you that person, maybe they're a narcissist, maybe they're a sociopath. It might be something like that. So, you have to, with spiritual awareness, you're only going to go up in energy with every decision. And then you're going to go up in timeline and up to the highest vibrational parallel universe at which you could personally and correctly resonate with. When your vibration aligns with and matches with the energy of that timeline, that version of you, you go right there. Like, boop, now I'm in this timeline, baby. And some timelines seem worse, and yet they're better for you. Like some timelines seem really bad. Like you hop up a timeline and you're feeling really good about yourself, and then your car catches on fire, or your boss fires you, or someone breaks up with you, or now you realize there's black mold in your bathroom, and like, shit, it wasn't like that on the other timeline. But even though the outward shit is happening that looks like it's lower in vibration, maybe you are a stronger person spiritually and you're more aware of energy. So it is for you, for your soul's alignment with its purpose and with your spiritual growth being the most ultimate importance. You did hop up to a higher vibrational timeline, even though some of the, maybe the system around you might be breaking down some, whereas, Taco Bell doesn't serve actual tacos with meat anymore, and they don't have lettuce or tomatoes anymore for some weird reason across the whole United States. That really freaks me out that that's the case right now. Like, what the actual hell? I mean, the U.S. is giving me less and less of a reason for me to ever go back. I mean, Taco Bell was my jam, and now I'm like, ugh. And my other jam was Subway sandwiches with the tuna. It's not even tuna. I don't know what the hell it is, but I don't think I want to go back. It's crazy. I think if I ever do go back to the U.S., I'm going to be just eating French fries, Maybe I'm going to be the one making them at home, because I don't even know what's in the food anymore. I don't know. The infrastructure seems to be cracking up and breaking down, and I don't know why, but maybe it's because of the apocalypse we're in. Armageddon. Shit, I don't know. I just looked, it was 33. It was 32:33. So I just want you guys to be aware, though, of the time stuff, the timeline stuff, the parallel universe stuff. Just keep, I've mentioned it a few times, but just keep it in mind that you're not going crazy, number one, and things do speed up and slow down. You can speed things up yourself or slow things down yourself if you wish. Just say it out loud, what you wish, and then witness it. See if it worked. Keep trying if you really want to try it. Keep trying. Keep asking. As far as God is concerned, the squeaky wheel always gets the grease. So keep asking, keep asking, keep asking, no matter what it is. And when you want to ask for an archangel, by the way, to help you with things, don't call upon us by name, because we might be not in heaven, but rather incarnate in human bodies. So the best thing you could do is ask God to send you the archangel of death to help you with bereavement, and then Archangel Hariel will show up. I'm not going to show up. I'm here. I'm not there. I can show up in my astral body, and I can bilocate too, but it just takes so much energy out of me to do all this, so that it detracts from what I'm doing for God here. So I just ask that you call upon the archangel of, or you ask God to help you by sending the archangel of homework, or the archangel of kick-ass hairdos because you want your hairstyle to change, or the archangel of picking out the best music for a special date. You know, whatever it is, there is an archangel for literally everything. Don't hesitate. You are worthy of the help. You are worthy of the love. And the archangels are more than willing and ready to help you, but just ask God to send the appropriate archangel, and don't call upon us by name, because we might be alive in a human form right now. You know, so that's just another like friendly reminder, because I've put a kibosh on it. I said a prayer, and God said it's granted not only for me, but for every archangel out there that is incarnate human form. We cannot be called upon. Just, you know, a human's random will. Ooh, I wonder what Azrael looks like. Oh, I'm going to call upon him. They always call me a him. They always say I'm a black guy and shows up with red energy in my energy field. And it's like, whoa, that's like so wrong. I mean, I do sometimes show up as a man or a woman. I think I probably normally would show up looking like maybe Asian. But right now I'm a white Cherokee woman that showed up here to Earth on the emerald green ray. So if you have been following someone for a long time and they say that they're channeling me and I'm showing up as a black man with a red energy to me, that's not me. That might be a demon. It actually sounds like a demon to me. But, you know, I mean the red energy part so much, but that's not always true, because some archangels do come on the ruby red ray, and that is a source of survival and healing. And so the ruby red can be a very good color here to work with if you need to improve your health and your sexuality, if you need help in those areas. So there's nothing wrong with that energy, but it is more associated with evil than good, but it's not 100% bad, is what I'm trying to say. One of the archangels I work with in real life, because she's a human person, and we talk all the time, and she came here on the ruby ray. And she says, yeah, I just really get into that color. And it's like, oh, that's your color, though. Because her archangel self, it works with that base survival energy. She helps people feel comfortable in their own skin. So it works. I help people with matters of the heart. That's why I came on the emerald green ray, which is a heart chakra color. So matters of the heart usually is what, you know, when you're grieving your own life, or, you know, if it's about to end, or you grieving for someone who died, you know, it's usually that green. You need that green healing energy. So that's what I bring to the table. So anyway, it just kind of cracks me up, though, if people think that they know, and they don't know what they don't know, and they just go along building a whole angel practice on the fact that they're talking to me constantly, or other angels. It's like, sorry, Charlie, you're not. I mean, unless it was 54 years ago, I've been incarnate, so you haven't been channeling my spirit, my energy, my nothing. It's not true. You might be channeling another angel or nothing at all. Just, you know, an idea in your subconscious mind. I get so mad when people say, I've been channeling Archangel Azrael. It's like, you actually haven't. So don't call upon me. Ask God to send the archangel that you need. You know, we're more than willing to help, but, you know, a lot of people don't realize that, though, you know. They don't know what they don't know. Ignorance is bliss. People go, oh, thank you. You've helped me so much. I'm so glad Archangel Azrael's there for us. It's like, oh my God, I am, but I wasn't for that thing. It's so weird. Anyway, I have gone off on this rant before a few times, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. Love and light to my beautiful Archangel counterpart, my divine light counterpart, Archangel Sandalphon, who, that's not his original Archangel name. I'm not going to say it out loud. and he is an original archangel. He's not a human that became an angel, as some people have written down, and everyone just accepts it. That's not true. He was an original archangel. He's the archangel of new birth. I'm the archangel of death. That's why we're twin flame counterparts. We complete each other, in that. And I'm not going to say his real name, but his real name is quite a bit different than what people call him. But he and I have been going through this birth, death, new life, rebirth dance for hundreds of thousands of years. He's here, then I'm here, then he's here, then I'm here. It's just been this constant dance. And so I guess somebody realized who he was at one point, and then he became an archangel again, i.e. he died, And then he became a human again. He's a human right now. And then archangel, then human, blah, blah, blah. And, I got wind of part of this story, and then, they think that's what the whole story is, and it's not the whole story. And that's what's happened with a lot of us, actually. It's kind of weird. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to not talk about this anymore. But I did want to let you guys know about the solar wind stuff. Spaceweather.com is where I go to look at this. The current solar wind speed is 411.7 kilometers per second. Here's 11 and 7. Those are angel numbers. Today is the 22nd of July, and I wanted to tell you guys a story which I have talked about before on other July 22nds, actually. This is my grandmother's, my Grandma Fox, God rest her soul. This is her birthday. And so happy birthday, Grandma. But 1 year for her birthday, and this is another thing. Not only is time important, divine timing is important as well. And I even saw somebody saying, because today's the 22nd, at 2:22 on the 22nd was the minute of Mary Magdalene. And I asked Prime Creator, and the answer was, no, it's not. Someone's arbitrarily making up stuff so they can make money on their meditation. That's a group meditation. I don't know who did, I can't remember, but I just thought, man, there's so much crap. So much made up shit that's not true. And it's always loving, well-intentioned, well-meaning. But a lot of the group meditation stuff, man, you get in a room full of people and you open your energy field and lower vibrational people are there. They might be carrying demons. They might have like implants, energetic implants. They might have all kinds of weird negative energy that can glom onto you. It can lower your vibration if you all meditate in sync and harmony together. If everyone's vibrating at the same rate, you are all going to vibrate at a higher rate. But I don't like to do group stuff like that. It's like, oh, that can make you dirty spiritually. And then you have to go home and take a spiritual shower. You got to cleanse your aura, cleanse your chakras, cleanse your energy field again. And it's like, oh my God, in the name of Mary Magdalene, she's going to have a group thing online. It's like, oh my God. It could it could be great. It could be also something that muddies you up a bit. Be very careful and very discerning where you get your energetic healing and vibrational stuff. By the way, just a quick little warning. Anyway, this story about my grandmother, and then we'll get into space weather. 1 year she was particularly down on herself, and she thought that no one will really remember her birthday, and she wanted to test people, and she wanted to think about like if anyone would remember if she said nothing, because she always felt like every year she had to remind people, which a lot of us feel that way, right? So it's not an uncommon feeling. And a lot of times we won't say anything and no one will say happy birthday to us. And it's really depressing that we're just nothing but an afterthought. But everyone's stuck in their own head anyway. They're dealing with their own things anyway. and only the people the most closest and that love you the most will remember. But my grandmother, for some reason, got it stuck in her head that no one's going to remember her this year. You know, my grandpa hadn't said anything, and my mom, I don't think, had said anything. And I was about to say something, but I hadn't said anything yet. And so she went to the mall to cheer herself up, and she was really upset. And she was crying by the time she got to her car, almost to her car. And she prayed really fervently, and she said, God, please show me that people love me by remembering my birthday, because I'm so scared no one's going to remember my birthday this year. And as she's walking, she saw a little ruby red, and ruby is her color. So speaking of rubies, the energy of ruby is her birthstone, and she loves the color red anyway, and she didn't wear it a lot, but she loved the color. And she just prayed this fervent prayer, and she saw this red button on the ground in front of her car. She went up to it and she picked up this ruby red colored button, and it said on it July 22nd. And she burst into tears, and she was crying and crying and crying. And she said she felt seen and she felt heard by God. And she knew that people were not going to forget her. They were not going to forget her birthday. And she was loved in the universe. She was important in the universe. She looked around. She's like, how the hell is this random date on the color of my birthstone in front of my car right after I say this prayer, right? It was one of those weird moments. It was like a woo, almost like one of them Twilight Zone moments. And so I wanted to let you know that sometimes you're going to be reminded of things, and it's going to be with clear divine timing, speaking of time. So there you have it. There's my July 22nd story. So I wanted to also tell you, thank you guys for downloading and listening to the show. There have been, as of yesterday, 150,000 listens of Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. So I could not have done it without you guys, my listeners. So thank you so much for that. Continue to please tell people about it. I need more and more listeners if I'm going to keep the show going for a long time, and I really want to. So, thank you for that. So, getting to it, solar wind speed right now is 411.7 kilometers per second, and there was a crack in the Earth's magnetic field today very early, almost now about 24 hours ago. Or 22 hours ago. 22 hours ago. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, this crack opened up in the magnetic field, and solar wind did pour in. It did fuel a geomagnetic unrest to the tune of KP4, and no aurora borealises were received because it happened during the daylight hours. And now quiet conditions have since returned. So if you felt kind of a little bit woozy energetically or even physically, like you're kind of like, ooh, I feel a little strange, tired, nauseated, like not motivated, and you were feeling a little bit lazy because you're trying to process stuff that you don't know what you're processing, but you need a time to process, that's what's going on. Is because we were hit with a lot of radiation from the sun today, the solar wind, all that plasma that we're open to as it changes our DNA, and we learn and grow spiritually from it because we are consciously aware of the energy coming in. So that's what happened today. A filament of magnetism near the sunspot AR2846 erupted on the 20th, hurled a CME into space, and the blast site would have ruled out an impact on Earth. However, because the explosion has squirted the debris out sideways towards us, there is a visual on spaceweather.com. You could see this. pretty intense and strangely shaped. It's almost like the devil's pitchfork. It looks really weird coming off the sun right now. And it says that the edge of this CME, the coronal mass ejection, will strike us tomorrow on Friday. It's going to spark G1 class geomagnetic storms again. They don't know if it's going to or if it's not, but they think that there's a very good chance. They're forecasting it to happen. But they said it's uncertain. They don't really know right now, but they think it might. There's a chance. The high latitude sky watchers who want to see the aurora borealis, well, you're going to have to be on the lookout for the auroras this weekend because of this. So, a new science module for the International Space Station is named Nauka, which means science in Russia, was just sent up yesterday. It is a 45,000-pound laboratory that's supposed to leave Earth. It was supposed to leave Earth in 2007, but technical problems delayed its launch. So 14 years later, almost, Sabolksnagi photographed the winged module flying over London en route to the International Space Station. And that is a video that they have here as well. Let's see. It's going to be the largest Russian component of the space station. It's 42 feet long and has a maximum diameter of 14 feet, and it is basically a spacious research facility with a spare bed for astronauts, a new toilet, yay, and gear for recycling water from urine. Okay, I'm out. But if you want to read the rest of the article, ooh, that's on spaceweather.com. So for the first time in many years, right now there are 6, count them, 6 numbered sunspot groups on the face of the sun facing us right now. Holy moly. I mean, that's 6 times the normal chance that we're going to be hit with something soon, like a CME. Oh, I wish I had a Faraday cage that I could just like squirrel away, and then I hear that's coming our way and just put up the Faraday cage real quick and not have my electronics fried, for example. You know, I think about this stuff quite often. So sunspot number 86 is, I guess, the oldest one there. So very interesting to check that out. The neutron counts coming from the cosmic radiation has gone down because we just got hit with more solar wind. And the past 48-hour change, it's gone down by 0.6%. We're still at a high level, though, at 8.2% of the space age average. There are no significant coronal holes on the Earth's side of the sun, and yet we did get hit by the solar wind. I'm going to just gloss over that because I cannot explain it, unfortunately. There have not been any new meteoritic fireballs over the United States, so we'll report on that tomorrow when that comes back, you know, when they report on it. I'm sure there'll be a lot tomorrow. I don't know why there wasn't any today. I mean, there were 19 yesterday, so it seems to me like there should have been some, but hey. So, Schumann resonance coming down from Italy, this information is just 8. 7.83 is normal, 8, so it's like kind of right there in that vicinity of normal, what's been normal for decades. And at least in Italy, people are probably feeling a little bit more comfortable emotionally than they have in a very long time. Now, as far as the HeartMath Institute and the HeartMath.org is going, I'm sorry, guys, this data is temporarily unavailable. Please try again later, damn it. I tried, you know, it is what it is, and, well, there you go. All right, guys, when I come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about astrology and the full moon tomorrow. We're going to see what's going on with that. We're going to talk about what full moon it is and how it's going to affect us right after this. All right, guys, first we turn to the Old Farmer's Almanac. That is found at almanac.com. And this full moon that's tomorrow is the full buck moon. By buck, they don't mean dollar or man named Buck. Just kidding. You all know that already. A buck is a deer, a full-grown male deer. And so the full buck moon is coming up. And it's different time, different hour around the world. It just is different, just depending on where you are, is when, when and where you are. It depends on how you're viewing the moon from where you are, but it appears full because the sun has a clear shot at shining all of its beautiful brightness on the moon, and that's what makes it reflect back to us, the sun being the conscious mind and the moon being the subconscious mind, if you want to represent it in levels of mind. That's deeply metaphysical thought. Let's see. But it will reach peak illumination tomorrow night at 10:37 Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Time. I don't know if we're in Standard or Daylight Savings right now, but Eastern Time tomorrow, so like basically New York time tomorrow at 10:37. And there is a moonrise and moonset calculator to find out precisely when this will be visible in your area on almanac.com. So if you want to check it out. So the name of the full buck moon used by the Old Farmer's Almanac and other sources come from a variety of places, including Native American, colonial American, and European sources. So, traditionally, the full moon is named after the entire lunar month in which it occurs, not solely to the full moon itself. So we don't say it's a buck moon for one day. This is the beginning of the buck moon month, so it is for a full year. I mean, I'm lying, not a full year, a full month, sorry. I mean, that's what the word month means, like moonth, basically. It comes from the word moon. So that's kind of cool, right? All right. So the full moon in July is called the buck moon because the antlers of male deer or bucks are in full growth mode at this time. Bucks shed and regrow their antlers every year, and then they produce a larger, more impressive set of antlers as the years go by. And there's something really cool about this time of year when they are shedding their antlers. What happens is they rub there's like a felt on their antlers, and they rub it on bushes and trees to get it off because it kind of gets itchy, I guess, and it annoys them. And so they shed the felt first and then the antlers later. And what's really strange about this is this is where the first felt came from, when people would make felt hats. Now there's other ways that people make felt, so it's not just from deers, because that would be insane. There's so many things made with felt these days. But original felt hats came from the felt. People would go out into fields and forests and gather the felt. And that's kind of interesting, right? And it's so soft and but when they're doing this, they're kind of like pissed off. And it's called rutting season, and you don't want to be near a deer as they're going through this. It'd be like, imagine if you were super sunburned and your skin was peeling off, and you're trying really hard to, take care of your skin, and you're itching all over, and then someone came up and like just started annoying you or slapping you on the back or, shooting you with a water gun or something. It'd be so annoying, right? You'd probably snap. So it's the same thing with bucks during the buck moon when they're doing their rutting season thing, which I think is at this time. Well, let's move on and see what else this has to say. Alternative July moon names for this time include references to animals, including the feather molting moon, which is by the Cree people, and the salmon moon, which is a Tlingit term indicating when the fish are returning to the area and when they're ready to be harvested. So now's a good time to go grab your salmon, maybe, if that is if it's legal in your area, and if that's what you want to do. This is a good time to do it, I suppose. Also, it's a good time to lose your old feathers and grow your new ones. Archangel high five. I'm kidding. I don't molt much. I have found feathers on my pillow occasionally. It's very strange because I have nothing made from feathers, ironically. So now I wonder if it's not one of my own feathers. It's kind of weird. Anyway, plants are also featured prominently in July moon names as well, or July's moon names around the world. Some of the favorites, according to this article, are the berry moon by the Anishinaabes, the moon when the choke cherries are ripe, according to the Dakotas, and my people, the Cherokee people, they call this the month of the ripe corn moon, which it's good to know corn is ripe right now. I love corn, like corn on the cob. Oh my God, it's so good with butter and a little bit of salt. Ugh, nothing better than that. And also, according to the Ojibwe people and the Algonquin Nation, this is the time of the raspberry moon, which I love that name. That's very sweet too. Raspberries are awesome berries. And now I wish I had some. Okay, the thunder moon is another name from the Western Abenakis, and the halfway summer moon also is a name from the Anishinaabes, and their alternative variants that refer to the stormy weather in the summer season. There's a lot of traditionally at this time, this is like lots of thunder, lots of rain, and that kind of leads a little bit into the fall, for the secondary harvest of the year, which I believe maybe will be garlic. And then I think in the falls when you plant things like onion and garlic, there's certain things you don't plant until the fall, and then most things you plant in the springtime. So anyway, let's see. Now I'm gonna pause this for a second and talk about how is this going to affect you astrologically. So moon facts. Let's see. There's a poem that they have. I'm gonna read this to you. This poem was written by James N. Matthews, and he was born in 1852, and he died in 1910, which means I can legally read this on the air, as it's more than 80 years old. And here's the poem. A moon-flooded prairie, a straying of leal-hearted lovers, a baying of far-away watching dogs, a dreaming of brown-fisted farmers, a gleaming of fireflies eddying nigh, and that is July. So, very interesting old poem. brown-fisted farmers. That reminds me of just being out in the field and planting stuff. I lived on a farm, and my stepmom and I had a vegetable garden one year, and I remember just like planting stuff, and it's like your hands are like super muddy. It's like the right time of year, when you go and pluck stuff up, and getting the big old worms off the tomatoes, making sure they don't eat our tomatoes before we get a chance to pluck them and turn them into spaghetti. But yeah, I remember all that. It's very interesting. I still smell the scent of the earth and those tomatoes and the plants that the tomatoes are on, and the weird little white hairs that sometimes would sting my hands if I touched them like too hard. And the corn, I remember we grew corn, and it was so tall. You could get lost. If you grow enough corn, you can make a maze. You could get lost in it. I remember getting all this from the rich Minnesota soil. So, all right, I'm going to pause this for a minute and look up the astrology for this week, including the full moon. All right, we're going to first turn to InStyle.com. This is one of my favorite magazines from years and years ago, back when I lived in the United States and actually read magazines and actually had them delivered to my house month after month. And this was one of my favorites from when, God, I would have to say 20 years ago. Close to 20 years ago. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. It says here, it's possible this month has had you nursing a nearly month-long hangover from June's jam-packed astrology. Yeah, I'm still feeling like, trying to recover from that. Especially because Mercury didn't even leave the shadow phase until the 7th of July. And has it really left? It doesn't feel. Sometimes it still feels like it's in that shadow phase for me. In the past couple, maybe not this week so much, but last week for sure. So anyway, right now, tomorrow, the full moon is going to be in the sign of Aquarius. And this is going to mean for us a lot of emotional processing around everything we've just been through. And according to this, it says it can leave you feeling wired, tired, and also irritable. So maybe put off planning a date until next week. Maybe. So it says the full moon in Aquarius does throw the spotlight on relationships. And that sounds quite interesting. And also, maybe you want to put it off. As a Virgo, I'm like, let's be super precautious, right? But Aquarians are the ultimate friends with certain benefits of the zodiac. That's what it says here. And the ruler of the 11th house of networking, friendship, and long-term wishes. That's the sign of Aquarius. It says that Aquarians are comfortable with platonic bonds, and they do a fantastic job creating massive webs of interpersonal connections, endearing themselves to a variety of teams, clubs, political organizations. That's interesting. My mom was the only Aquarian that I really knew. I did date one Aquarius man for a very short period of time. It's just the first time we started to make out, and this is maybe TMI for some of you. While we were kissing, he put his tongue up my nose. I just thought, I can't. I'm a Virgo. You can't even do that shit to me. Like, that's insane. And I told him, please don't do that again. That's very uncomfortable for me. And then he put his tongue in my ear. And I'm like, again, on my ear, sure. Inside the ear hole, not so cool. That freaked me out. I was like, ugh. It gave me like the ear willies, right? Like, don't freaking do that. And then he said, okay. And then the third thing he did, and I just, at that point, got out of the hot tub and like, I gotta go home now. Bye. And we never dated again. It was like he put his tongue in my armpit. I'm like, dude, you don't know if I've been sweating, if I wore deodorant, and even if I did, like, ew, and then you want to try to kiss me on my mouth after that? It's freaky. Ugh, it gave me the weirdest feeling. And from that point forward, I'm like, I'm never going to date an Aquarian again, because that's just insane. It's like, what? It did not compute. It made no sense to me. Sorry if that's TMI for some of you. And some of you are probably rolling on the floor laughing your ass off right now. It's just too weird that I just... It's just very, very weird. He also had a fish, like a really ancient looking fish that I felt like it was judging me when I went into his room because I was looking for a towel to dry off before I left, and this fish was like strange. I'm just like, I gotta leave. I just felt weird. He had a gorgeous place though, overlooking the ocean in Santa Barbara. So we were in a hot tub and was surrounded by trees, but then when I went into his room, he had a view of the ocean off of the cliff where he lived. Oh my God, it was such a beautiful... It's too bad he was so freaking weird, because it would have been nice to hang out there, and like where he lived was actually pretty cool. But that was, God, I think, what was I, like 19 or 20, or I don't even know, maybe I was 23, something like that. Anyway, he was my bicycle repairman. And I'd taken my bicycle in and he asked me out. I'm like, sure, why not? He was a pretty cool dude, but and that stuff freaked me out. Anyway, so Aquarians. So that's all I ever knew about Aquarians. I just assumed all Aquarians had weird sexual hang-ups. All right. Let's say not only... So, and my mom was an Aquarius, though, and she was also kind of a strange person, but she didn't do the whole friendship networking thing. She was very close with her family and her husband, and like her family was her whole thing. She worked. She did a very good job with her work, but she worked in a trophy shop for most of her life. And trophies that were given to the MVPs of baseball, like it was a really famous like trophy company. So, which is really cool. But I don't know. Let's see. So it's talking about Aquarian people, like, that they value community, working with others, pursuing the greater good. So if this is what the Aquarian people are about, this is probably what the Aquarius moon might bring us to be interested in over the weekend. So working with others, valuing our community, pursuing activities that will help the greater good. And let's see. It says that the moon is making a wide conjunction. I don't know what that means. To Saturn also, which is, of course, the planet of restriction and boundaries and structure. But it seems, and they're saying that Saturn is Aquarian's original ruler. And for some reason, it seems like it's opposites to me. Saturn and Aquarius seems opposite to me. I didn't realize. But it says that because of this, it's going to set a serious and stubborn tone. Again, you might want to take a break for a week from your relationships. I'm scared. Like, I'm genuinely scared for anyone who's, like, if you're in a relationship and you don't know where it's going or where it's going to go, or, you haven't taken the next step to make it more permanent. Like, maybe this is a week to kind of say, let's take a break for just a week, or, not a break from each other necessarily, but maybe I'm going to go away for the weekend by myself. I don't know. Maybe don't do that, but it might. If serious and stubborn, those are two words I don't want to associate with relationships. I don't know. You feel like you need to proceed towards a certain goal, which is good. Goal-oriented weekend. That's nice. Perhaps one that you set during the new moon in July 9th. So, a couple weeks ago, you might have set a goal for yourself. And now might be the time to deliver on that and make that commitment a little bit more intense. It says, based on your ideals and beliefs, you might have set this in a very specific way. And now that we have Saturn's presence, roadblocks might pop up at every turn, and it might make you frustrated and stressed. I'm already feeling the effects of that. I'm trying to apply for an English teaching position. I'm trying to do this with 3 different companies, and one of the companies I'm already golden, I'm already on there. I just have to fill out my profile, and then I'll start getting more customers. I've already had a couple people inquire, even though I don't have a picture, I don't have a description, and one guy already asked me to lower my price, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. There's plenty of people that are willing to spend, to take, to pay, to teach both of your children for $10 an hour. I'm going to do it for $25 for both kids, which I think, normally I do $25 an hour per person, but I'll give you a break, 2 kids, that's fine. Add a 3rd kid, I don't care, because then they can help each other speak English, obviously. But there's one company, they only pay like $10 an hour. It's like a ridiculously low amount for this field, because the people paying to get the English, it's like $50 or $60 an hour is what they're paying, but they only pay their teachers $10. It's like ridiculous. 15, if you have a degree, which I do. And they say, so now upload your degree. And I'm like, oh shit. I don't think I actually have with me in Ecuador a copy of my degree. And the actual degree itself was stolen from my warehouse of stuff that I had when it was stolen. Everything I owned, gone. So I have to get a new, this is ridiculous. I have to write a check and mail it to my old school because I can't pay them PayPal online. I don't have a check. I don't have a checkbook here in Ecuador. I'm like, what the hell? And then the other thing they're saying is, or I could just show up to the campus and order it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. How the hell am I going to get my, to get the $5 extra an hour for this company? That's a roadblock. So that's an example, so I'm like trying to navigate my way through. Like if I don't show them my degree, they might only offer me $10 an hour. And in the interview, I want to ask for the highest amount of money, obviously. They can say, how much do you want to get paid? I'm going to say $25 an hour. And they say, well, we only go as high as 15. I go, okay, good, I'll take it. Like I have it all mapped out how I'm going to do this, but I can't prove I have a degree right now, and I'm trying to figure it out. So I have to pay $12.50 to this other company that will write a letter saying I have a degree, but they're not going to get a copy of the degree, even though they're going to get a copy of the degree from my school. I don't think I'm going to have the ability to upload. And that's like a whole nother it's like a whole nother, maybe a week-long situation. And then another roadblock, for example, is like my friend said that when his sister signed up for this company, she got in like Flynn within a week. It was easy. The hours are easy, and it's $10 an hour, but you only work for 40 minutes out of the hour. And when he started, it was only a couple, it was only like a few days, and they got back to him, and then bada boom, bada bing, he's training. But what I've read online recently is sometimes they don't get back to you for 2 to 3 months. So I'm like, oh, great, so damn, that would have been. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but it's very possible. So those are the kinds of roadblocks. For example, so you're trying to get a job and they're like, oh, sorry, you have to have, like an x-ray for your chest. You're going to be working with kids, for example. That might be an example. I remember when I worked with kids, that's what they said. You have to go down to get an x-ray of your chest. Okay, I'm going to my doctor anyway. I'll just have it done there. No, we need you to do it at a specific place. So now you've got to set up an appointment and go to the specific place in a whole nother city, an hour and a half away from where you are. Like those kinds of roadblocks, for example. Like, like another example, like in a relationship, or like if someone tries to date you, like there's a guy who's been trying to date me, which I'm not really necessarily interested in him at all, really. But he's an interesting person, and I thought, well, maybe we could have lunch or something, but not as a date, just as friends, right? And I started to tell him that, and then he just asks me, oh, by the way, are you vaccinated? Like, I'm not going to even go out to lunch with you unless you're vaccinated. Like, that's a kind of an idea of a roadblock. Like, what the fuck what, do you think I'm going to be sick going out with you? Like, that's insane, you know? Like, that blew my mind. Are you like, is that what we're going to come to in this world? Like, if you don't have your vaccination card, sorry, Charlie, I can't date you. I can't even go out to lunch with you, or walk in the park with you, or fly a kite with you unless you got your vaccination card. I mean, is it going to happen? Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. It kind of freaked me out. The question was like, no, I don't have my vaccination. Like, it takes months to get a vaccination because you have to go back. And now they're even talking about having a third vaccination for immunocompromised people. And I'm like, I don't even know if I want the first vaccination. I still haven't gotten it. And I know where to go to get it. And I really wanted to get it. And now I'm like, I'm hesitant, you know? I just feel like I'm going to wait and hang back a little bit. You know, it's just, so that's when they say it's frustration, stress, you know, roadblocks popping up at every turn. I kind of feel like that's a very real possibility for the full moon tomorrow and over the weekend. So it says, now Venus will throw the light on relationship stress, according to this. So the moon might form right now, or it's going to form an awkward quincunx to Venus. It's an awkward word for sure. And it kicks up tensions and irritations in your closest bonds. Shit, because Venus is in Virgo. All right, well, we know that Virgo can be nitpicky as fuck. I know, I'm Virgo, and I'm an extreme Virgo. And, you know, very nitpicky in my life, and very, like, detail-oriented to the point where I drive myself crazy, and then I judge myself for that because I'm a Virgo. That's what Virgos do, right? But so Venus is in Virgo, and then the full moon is quincunx to that. So it's like kind of in relationship to that. And they say it's going to be just past an exact opposition to Jupiter in Pisces, which can also magnify relationship struggles and differences with a partner or friends or colleagues. See, I'm thinking take a separate vacation this weekend. You know, hey, just get away from it all. Go surfing by yourself, or maybe with a buddy that you don't talk too much. I mean, seriously. It says also it might inspire you to overindulge in an effort to cope with that stress. So there could be a push me, pull you type of energy between one person wanting to stick to the facts, Virgo, totally me, and the other being perfectly content to embrace the illusion or even resort to escapism, which is, of course, Pisces. It doesn't matter. It's all an illusion. The Virgo's like, no, look at that. I know you took a bite out of my cookie. I see it. It's your exact teeth pattern. I'm just kidding. Okay, I think that's an actual conversation I had with somebody one time. You can't prove it. Yes, I can. Let's fit this to your teeth, damn it. I know you ate my cookie. So it says you have to make the best this weekend of feeling stuck, basically. So, now, the new moon, like a couple weeks ago, was all about standing in your sense of self, according to the article. And that's what Aquarius is all about, you know, having that freedom of movement and being who you are, knowing who you are, right? So the moment that's happening right now is going to serve as a reminder that when you own your desires and push for change, your nearest and dearest are not always going to be on board with you. Great, freaking great. And there will be underlying tensions possibly that you have to deal with before you can move forward with the rest of your life and plans and that relationship, whether it's a colleague, a business partner, or, your life partner. So moving forward might feel impossible, obviously, because of all the roadblocks they talked about. And it also might feel lonely because the sun is in Leo, beautiful Leo. Leo's such a beautiful energy, and that's good because my little baby kitten, she was born as a Leo. She has a Gemini moon, which is why she wants to get picked up and loved, and a second later she bites the shit out of me. I know I'm getting used to this. I know that my one true love is a Gemini. I swear to God that this is... I'm not saying that I'm going to pick him up and then he's going to bite me, but I mean, I'm getting used to that energy that's super, super changeable, rapidly changeable. I'm getting used to that. Like, my cat will be all into playing and then she'll just lay down and take a nap. Or she'll be laying down and take a nap and I go to kiss her ear and immediately she wants to get up and play. That's a very changeable energy, but the Leo part of her makes her so friendly and sweet. It's just the Gemini part that hurts my arm. But the sun is in Leo, and it's going to be moving towards the annual opposition to Saturn, which is going to occur on the 1st. So like in about 8 days, it's going to happen. And it will make you pretty much... have one. It says you're going to be presented with one headache-inducing obstacle after the next. That's what it literally says right here. But the good news is, once the Sun and Saturn will move past the opposition on the 2nd, you'll start to exert your will, feel empowered again. So that's good. So after August 2nd, you're going to be fine. Like in 9 days, you're going to be golden. And you're going to find that the conditions for creating progress are actually going to be more favorable after August 2nd. So if you want to read about how the Aquarius full moon will affect you and how to deal with it based on your sign, you might want to check this article out. It's instyle.com and /lifestyle/astrology/July-2021-full-moon. So that's the exact thing. I'm like, part of me is like, I kind of want to go check this out actually. So there's a little article here on bustle.com that is talking about the full buck moon and the zodiac signs that are most affected. Okay. So it says that, like, basically right now the moon is in hardworking Capricorn. That's why I'm like sitting here trying to get all my ducks in a row with all the different companies. I'm going to try to piece together a lifestyle as a English teacher, basically, and also as a teacher on Udemy. So I'm trying to get it all done at once. So I've been working for days now on these things. But it says, so you're in hardworking Capricorn, but now you're getting ready to experience similar vibes as you prepare for the unconventional wave of rebellion, which starts at this full moon in Aquarius, which is tomorrow. This is an innovative sign, and it's authentic. It's like, it's all about that self-authenticity with this sign, right? So you can expect the energy to be vibrant and a little weird. Yeah, just like my friend, bicycle repairman Shep. He was a vibrant personality and a little weird. And that's the way this moon is going to be. So during the lunar phase, as the full moon spotlight specific areas within our personal identity. So we got to look for that. Now, the full moon will pass through Aquarius, and it will make us feel compelled to release our inner rebel and push the envelope in personal lives. So they say this lunation will be calling us to challenge our limits, or the limits set forth by the collective. And an Aquarius energy will liberate us from the social conformities, and it will help to empower our authenticity. So that one sounds a little bit less scary than InStyle assessment. So they say during this lunation, I like that word lunation. That would be like a good album name. If you're a musician, maybe consider that as an album name. Lunations. So during this lunation specifically, the collective can expect an unusual urge to express themselves. And it might be an especially trying time for zodiac signs who are apt towards tradition or feel hesitant to embrace their inner eccentric spirit. Aquarius is all about radical authenticity, according to Cho Huang, who is an astrologer and creator of the Astro Forecast YouTube channel. So she tells this to Bustle. She says, this lunation will help you understand what you're meant to share with the world. Reinvention and realignment is a big theme with this innovative energy. So pretty much who's going to be the most affected? They're saying, I'm not going to read this so much out loud, but I'm going to just tell you the four. I'm not going to go into it. So the most affected signs by this are Virgo, Scorpio, and Pisces. So I could see that for sure. It's funny that Pisces would be affected by it very much, because Pisces people love to be eccentric and weird. It's just part of their wheelhouse, you know? I've always dated Pisces people. I always thought they were lovely and fun and complete opposite of me. So I enjoyed having a completely different viewpoint. My daughter is, they are a Pisces, and I just adore her. She's always feeling, though, with her sidereal. See, Ray, I am using this in the show. Ray and I talked earlier about tropical versus sidereal astrology, and I've always gone by the tropical. Because in sidereal it says I'm a Leo, and I don't relate to that energy at all. Although I've got fabulous Leo hair. I do have hair that looks like a Leo, like a big lion hair. I have tons of hair, thank you God. But my energy is, I'm a Virgo all the way. For sure. All right, let's go to the next website. And the next website is astrologyking.com. And here we're back to the relationship irritants theory. Oh, good God. Here we go with, this is what I'm saying. Just, and I love this picture too. It shows a man sleeping with his mouth open. He's obviously snoring, which is me in this scenario. And it shows this woman clutching her pillow angrily with one hand over her ear. Just probably everybody in the neighborhood in my scenario. I swear to God, I have so many different ways to stop snoring, and I don't know if any of them work. I still manage to wake myself up sometimes. I mean, if you wake yourself up snoring, there's something wrong, right? So they're saying that this is going to make the tense quincux aspect to Venus. So we already talked about that being awkward in the other article. Now he's the astrology king. He's saying it's going to be tense. The spiritual meaning of the full moon in July astrology relates to relationship irritants and also karmic imbalances that are involved with love and affection. So that one's interesting. That's new information. So this aspect pattern that's linked to this full moon creates a lot of activity. It makes you want to achieve something and reach your goals, but it also creates irritability and inner tension that will make it very difficult to relax. Well, just freaking great. My cat's been biting me when I don't let her outside. I wonder if that's going to affect that in particular for me. Will that affect that relationship? Maybe. I'm not in a love relationship except with my cat, so All right. So they're saying that the full moon is going to be in Aquarius at 1 degree 26. What is that? Feet? Inches? I don't know. Looks like feet, but it's something else. Degrees. That's what it. No, it's 1 degree 26. I came up with this last month, and now I can't remember what that means again. Damn it. Anyway, links to Venus opposite Jupiter, which creates a long rectangular aspect pattern. That's very interesting. Now, this pattern is, I'm going to pause this for a minute because this is a rune. This is a Nordic rune. Hold on a minute. So quickly hopping over to runesecrets.com, Dagaz, or Dagaz, D-A-G-A-Z, looks like a necktie, like a bow tie. And this is the pattern in astrology. So let's quickly cross-reference. And it says it means day. And it also means awakening, enlightenment, invisibility. Ooh. Incommunicable paradox and non-duality. That's really intense, right? Okay, so hold on a minute. Let's see if I can't find another take on what Dagaz or Dagaz means. Oh, wait, I just found another further explanation from runesecrets.com. It says, oh, this is giving me a weird feeling, so I know I'm on the right path. Time is an illusion that once realized is lovingly embraced nonetheless. Dagaz literally means day or dawn. It's esoteric. It means awakening. It is the rune of the hyper-consciousness, the process of concept becoming realized. Now, this goes right along hand in hand with what the astrology is saying, and it says the key phrase for this rune is, according to elderfutharkrunes.blogspot.com, this person says, if you stay true to yourself, only good things will come your way. Of course, this means daylight, which is always positive. Viking rune equivalent means breakthrough, day, prosperity, and abundance. In the I Ching, though, it's stagnation, and the tarot equivalent is death. Holy fuck, number 13. Why do I go down these rabbit holes? This is why I go down these rabbit holes. And the divinatory meaning is the light. The corresponding letter is D, which is one of the initials of my twin flame, by the way. The associated color is light blue. I just bought light blue sheets. This is like ridiculous. Associated herb is clary sage. Associated gemstone is diamond. Oh, I hope so. Associated tree is spruce. Associated myths and deities, Suna, Balder, Nerthus, Yggdrasil, and it's sacred to Heimdall, the Watcher. And what am I but a Watcher angel? So this is like freaking me out a little bit, just to be honest. Relationship interpretation of this rune, contributions by one partner to the other's spiritual or psychological welfare. The healing color and qualities is yellow, and fever and head complaints, mental fatigue, exhaustion, clearing away toxins from the body. This can be worn as a talisman to bring a positive outcome to a situation that is of concern. The happiness, or keywords of this, happiness, success, fulfilling lifestyle, day, daylight, light, that brings hope and happiness. Door of the year, divine light, balance between light and darkness, the right time to plan and embark on an enterprise. Midday, midsummer, it's midsummer right now. Prosperity, satisfaction, positive activity, light, hope, good fortune, breakthrough, awakening, awareness, power of positive will, transformation, security, certainty, growth, release, balance, good health, strength, joy, in the place where opposites meet. And Dagos is balance. Now there's more here. We're not going to go so deep. We already went down the rabbit hole far enough, as far as I'm concerned. And I just looked and it was 44 minutes and 55 seconds into this part of the recording. Yeah, there we go. There's even more rabbit holes. That is your new angel numbers for those of you who are keeping score. Anyway, so the major effect of this particular configuration is irritation. This is the Dagos symbol. I swear to God, this is crazy. So that's what comes from the fixed stars closest to the full moon in the constellation. It says Sagitta the arrow. I think that means Sagittarius. So, okay. All right, so what is the full moon meaning in general? Okay, according to astrologyking.com, sun opposite moon, which is what creates the full moon, brings home, family, intimate relationships into sharper focus for the following 2 weeks of this particular moon phase. Now, this is not true only for July, but rather for every full moon we ever have. And the opposing forces, such as work versus home, what do you need versus what you want, creating inner tension and external pressure, this can lead to conflict and crises that drain your energy. The lunar qualities of emotions and instincts reach their peak at the time of the full moon. Using your increased emotional strength and intuition can help you overcome any relationship challenges. Subconscious awareness allows for impartial and balanced look at your personal relationships. You're going to clearly see any relationship dynamics or negative feelings that are causing disharmony at this time. So now the current full moon aspect, which is the big one we've been talking about, Moon Quincunx Venus, increases your need for love and affection, but also increases tension between you and a loved one. Relationship tension and rises because of an imbalance involving emotional support and love. You might find behavior or attitude annoying or irritating, or in my case, with my only relationship to my kitten, we'll call that catitude. But you might experience an internal imbalance involving self-love and how you feel about yourself. So that's a big one to keep in mind this weekend. So whatever the issue, it might become a recurring problem or continually building up as tension